Love lives here.
So we're approaching 2025, right? Really fast here. And so I wanted to talk about some things that happened in 2024, this year that we're in now. So it was a leap year, right? How many people born the leap year? Nobody here? Okay, good. Huh? Married on it. How many years have you been married? All right. So now, and then 2024 was the lunar year of the dragon. Who's the dragon in here? And I actually, so 2024 year of the dragon. Taylor Swift kicked off her 2024 tour. She is the biggest pop cultural phenomena of the decade. Did you know that? 2024, dual emergence of the cicadas. You know, they only come up every 17 years, and some of them come up, well, the ones that are coming up, they're coming up together. There's 13-year cycle and 17-year cycle, and somehow they synced up, and they're coming up together. Well, they did already. And it hasn't been this occurrence since 1803. They go deaf in the Midwest with the cicadas. And April 8th was the Great North American Eclipse. We had the Paris Olympics. And then I saw somewhere where it says that 2024 was the quest for joy was amplified. So, not sure about that, but that's what it said. And then, of course, the big news in 2024 was the U.S. presidential election that happened. And so we know that in January, upcoming 2025, there'll be a new administration. And this will bring about some change in the government. So what I'm trying to get at is with this one is that change always happens. The one thing that we can be sure about is change. It's inevitable. So in Ecclesiastes 3rd chapter, 1st verse, it states, "For everything there is a season, and every time for every activity under the heavens." It means that there is a proper time for every event or experience in life, signifying the cyclical nature of time and the changing seasons of existence. A time for every season under the heavens is a phrase from the Bible, which I said. The key points of that, though, is that every aspect of life, from birth to death, joy to sorrow, has its designated time. And an interpretation of that is often used to encourage acceptance of life's nature, natural rhythm, and to find the meaning of each stage that we go through. So it is vital that when change happens, we remember our true nature and our true identities, right? You with me so far? And the nature of humankind is Christ. There's no place where we begin and God leaves off. Can I get an amen on that one? So, a women? A women and amen, both. All right. In the science of mind, it said the Christ consciousness refers to the universal principle of God expressing through humanity, essentially signifying the potential for every individual to access the state of divine awareness and love, as exemplified by Jesus, the Christ, who is seen as the master teacher demonstrating this potential in its fullest, right? So this emphasizes that everyone is capable of experiencing this divine connection. It's not just for a select few. It's for all of us. So some key points to our Christ consciousness is our universal potential. It is not about worshiping Jesus as a deity, but recognizing the divine spark within every person. It's about living with love and compassion. The Christ consciousness is about living a life full of love, understanding, and compassion, mirroring Jesus' teachings, and assessing our higher self. Reaching this state involves tapping into one's higher consciousness and experiencing a deep connection with the divine. And Abraham Hicks says, tune in, turn in, and tap in, or something like that. Tune in, tap in, and turn on. So turn it on. So when we find God, when we can find God within ourselves, right? The power is one indivisible spirit, and we, you, me, we are a part of it. And it's not fragmented, it's not separate, but the essence is in each of us. So I want to talk about the people that are probably on live stream can't see that, but I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room, which is this suitcase here. So I'm going to ask a stupid question. How many people have suitcases at home? Raise your hand. And they come in handy, don't they? Especially when we're going on a trip. So all that stuff I said earlier, but I'm not exiting. I'm actually staying, but I bought the case for a reason. So I brought the case because I'm going to be packing up some things. And I want to encourage you to pack up some things as well. So in order to get in alignment with all this packing up and releasing and stuff like that, I'm going to refer to the brilliant writings of Ed Ryan. He so brilliantly wrote this month in the practitioner's perspective, Higher Ground. Did anybody read it? And so he quoted Stevie Wonder's Higher Ground. Are you ready? Can we do this? Here we go. I'm so glad that I know more than I knew then. Gonna keep on trying till I reach the higher ground. Ooh. Till I reach my higher ground. No one's gonna bring me down. They're sure gonna try. I'm gonna go higher, higher. Are you ready? Can we do this? Here we go. So today, in moving towards that and moving forward, here I go. Today, I'm packing up some old ideas and beliefs, some beliefs and ideas that no longer serve me. I'm packing up fear and replacing it with faith. Reverend Jeff talked about it. You got to have faith. I'm going to pack up unforgiveness and replace it with forgiving. We had a whole series on forgiving. I'm going to pack up distrust and replace it with discernment. I'm going to pack up doubt and replace it with certainty. I'm going to pack up my limitations that goes on in my own head, and I'm going to replace it with unlimited potentiality. I'm going to pack up resistance, and I'm going to replace it with resilience. And so today we're moving forward. We're not looking back. So we're always at choice. We can move forward in resistance or we can move forward in resilience. Right? So resistance is about opposing something. It's about digging your heels in. We have challenges in our lives. We like things a certain way, don't we? And we don't like to change things. Even though they may no longer serve us, it's comfortable. And we don't want to, what they call, upset the apple cart. I mean, can I get a witness to that? So when we talk about resistance, we talk about opposition. Ernest Holmes says, when we resist, we bring about more of what we're resisting. When we focus our attention on what we don't want rather than what we do want. The law gives us what we focus our attention on. The law doesn't understand don't. It doesn't understand don't. And Byron Katie says, when we stop opposing reality, action becomes simple, fluid, kind, and fearless. So let's move into resilience. What is resilience? It's about strength, right? The capacity to withstand or to recover from difficulties. You got to have some toughness. A prominent example of this story, the biblical story of Job, right? He was resilient. I mean, he lost everything. He lost his wealth. He lost his children. He lost his health. But he maintained his, I gotta have faith. He maintained his faith. Some other stories highlighted resilience across different faiths includes the phoenix in Greek mythology. You know, they rise from the ashes. The story of Joseph in the Bible. Joseph experienced betrayal, imprisonment, and hardships, but ultimately rises to a position of power, showcasing resilience through forgiveness and unwavering faith. And that's one of my favorite stories. And I will watch it on YouTube over and over and over again because I just love when all his brothers show up after they've thrown him in a well and, you know, he took his coat, all that stuff that they did to him. And then when they saw him years later, they didn't even know who he was. But he had so much love and compassion for them, and he was rooted in his faith that he was able to forgive. So the Bhagavad Gita, also in Hinduism, Arjuna was the central character, and he faced all kinds of dilemmas. I mean, the families were fighting against each other. He didn't want to do this thing. But he stayed in spirit. His partner in crime was spirit. The parable of the sower in the Bible. So there's many. Also, and I also looked up Viktor Frankl because he was one of the people that I had when I was in school, who was thrown into a concentration camp but survived. But what he discovers was that even in extreme circumstances, we do have a choice of action. And he states in Man's Search for Meaning, everything can be taken from a person, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. He maintained his dignity even in a concentration camp. So there are remarkable stories of resilience. I have a personal one. My sister, in 15 months, she lost 2 of her children. And when Daryl and I went to Florida to memorialize the last baby boy, 26 years old, my niece was in the hospital at the same time. So I was able to go see her. I hadn't seen her in years. Under 30. She's under 30. She's 39 years old. And she had suffered with type 1 diabetes for a long time. And as I was leaving and getting on an airplane, she was making her transition. 3 beautiful souls. And that was a hard one to swallow. But I see my sister, and I see her resilience. And I walked with her through this pain as much as I could, as much as anybody can when they're not experiencing it themselves. But I see how she is steadfast in remembering her boys and being there for her grandchildren. And so I call her from time to time, and I just talk to her, and I just let her talk. I just let her get out whatever she needs to say. I just am there. So I see her. And I see that she's fighting to find some sense of peace within herself. But I see her getting up every day, living her life, moving forward, loving on her grandkids and her daughter and the family. So resilience is in our divine nature. And there's some key spiritual aspects to resilience, with maintaining faith and belief in a higher power, even during hardship. And finding that inner strength through prayer, meditation, and spiritual practice. And accepting challenges as opportunities for spiritual growth. And then forgiveness and compassion towards oneself and others. And so I'm going to stop right here, and we can go to our tables. There's some questions on the tables that I'd like you to dive deep into. So to wrap up, I really enjoy listening to what comes from the tables. So thank you guys for participating and, really going deep. So the wrap up is, our founder, Ernest Holmes, said he believed that life is an upward spiral. The spiral of life is upward, and evolution carries us forward. And so some tools that we have and we use and we talk about every week that we have in our toolbox is positive affirmations. Speaking affirmative words in your life. Affirmative prayer, sacred study, get in classes, go to workshops, things like that. Sacred service, doing things for others. Like we did last week, all the food that we had come in. And then out there today is ornaments for children. So go and look at those. And then practicing the presence of God in everything that we do, even washing dishes, even the vacuuming the floor. Just be present. Be present. Practicing the presence. Okay, and then I have some quotes by Michelle Obama from her book, Becoming. And she says, becoming isn't about arriving somewhere or achieving a certain aim. She sees it instead as moving forward, a means of evolving, a way to reach continuously towards a better self. The journey doesn't end. And then Pema Chodron says in her book, When Things Fall Apart, the spiritual journey involves going beyond hope and fear, stepping into unknown territory, continually moving forward, and just keep moving. And so I had this song come up in my head, and I'm taking a page out of Ed's book. And the group was an R&B group, 1979, McFadden and Whitehead. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. So get your suitcases, pack that stuff up, and send it away. Ain't no stopping us now. We've got the groove. There's been so many things that held us down, but now it looks like things are finally coming around because we're using those principles and those spiritual tools. I know we've got a long way to go, but where we end up, he doesn't know. But we won't let nothing hold us back. We're putting ourselves together, and we're polishing up our act. Every time we come here, we're polishing up our act. If you ever felt held down before, I know you refuse to be held down anymore. So don't you let nothing stand in your way. I want you to listen to every word I say. Ain't no stopping us now. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. Ain't no stopping us now. We've got the groove. So through our practices of these teachings and the use of the tools, we move forward. And Dory from the Finding Nemo says, just keep swimming. She also says, yes, trust is what friends do. We're all friends here. Trust. Trust what we're saying to each other, what I'm saying, what Reverend Jeff says up here week after week is the truth of our being, the truth of your being. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, relax. Take a deep breath. Ed started with that this morning. Take a deep breath. And it's the ocean, silly. We're not the only two people here. We're here together. We're on this journey together. So let us move forward together. And so it is. Now I have your tools for thriving. So this week, set your alarm or an appointment in your calendar for a dedicated meditation or prayer break. Now, I know that Seaside, Reverend Christian Sorensen, has at noon, when they're at work, they stop. They go out in the sanctuary and they do meditation. So we need to make time. We need to set our calendars. I have alarm, my phone, I have an alarm about 10 minutes before I want to do anything, and then it reminds me that I was going to do that thing, and I put my little note in, because sometimes why is my alarm going off? I forgot. But I put my notes in there. So make time for spirit. And I know we talk about meditation and prayer and all that stuff, but I know we can get busy in our day. And things come up and happen, but make time, because it's your spiritual awareness and enlightenment and evolution that we're talking about. And when you evolve and we evolve, our world evolves with us. So contemplate the idea of moving forward and leaving anything that would hinder you behind, and see what happens to your energy, mental, emotional, balance, clarity, and focus. So do that. All right. And taking a deep breath and knowing that that spirit and power of the presence of God lives within each and every person here. Knowing that we are divine emanations of the One. Knowing that we are richly blessed. Knowing that we have the potential to step into the awareness of our own Christ consciousness. Ooh, it just feels so good to know that spirit is in us as us. And that no part of us, our soul, has ever been hurt or harmed. That it is beautiful, it is shining. It comes from that one source. That source of love, peace, joy, happiness, abundance, perfect health and wholeness. And so today we move forward in our knowledge of that. We take steps so we can change our conditions and just live what I heard Errol say today, live our best lives. And so we know, and we focus on that. We focus on what is God's highest idea of our best life. And then we move forward in the direction of that. With love, compassion for others, for divine and sacred service. We do this. And so I'm just grateful for this opportunity today. Grateful for each of you who have come to hear the word of spirit. Can you imagine all your good comes to you with grace and with ease? So just imagine. And let's move forward together so we can live better lives. We can have better communities. We can foster a world that works for everyone. And so I release this prayer. And so it is. So let's say our affirmation together on the screen. I move forward with confidence anchored in love. Let's say it together because I didn't hear you. I move forward with confidence anchored in love. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Sunday. Something wonderful is happening. Let's say it together. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called love. Love is in my mind. Love is in my body. Love is in everything I do. I am it. I share it. I receive it. And I move love forward because love lives here. Thank you, everyone.